Hi guys, the 2023 cycling season is well underway, and what goes with the new season is new kit. This video we'll take a look at the designs of the new Pro Team cycling jerseys for the new season, and I'll share my thoughts with you. Roll titles. Cycling teams often change the design of the jerseys and the kits at the start of the season, and this year is no different. For some teams the change is because they've changed title sponsor and they have to change their kit, and for others they just simply want to update the kit for the new season. Although this channel is primarily about cycling, I am by profession a graphic designer, and in particular I specialise in brand and identity design. I have won a number of national and international awards for my designs, and they have been featured in several international magazines and books on the topic. I have over 2 decades industry experience, and therefore I'm happy to share my professional view on the design of the 2023 jerseys. I'm going to review these jerseys based on a couple of criteria, mainly the visibility of the sponsor and the colours that are used in the jersey and the general visual impact of the design of the jerseys for us fans watching cycling on TV. It can be challenging for fans to pick out their favourite team or even their favourite rider in a packed peloton, so having an impactful jersey design can really help fans identify their favourite rider in a bunch sprint. Okay, first up we've got French team AG2R Citroën. This team has been around since 2008 and they're very famous for use of brown and cyan blue on their kit. Let's not mention those brown shorts. And more recently they've gone with a crisp white background in the jerseys, and bravely they've gone with a strong diagonal use of a sans serif typeface. The use of a sans serif typeface makes this main sponsor very legible and very easy to identify. And however, I think this jersey is lacking a little bit in design. It's a little bit too clean and it comes across as a little bit under-designed, if that makes sense. I'd give this jersey 6 out of 10. Next up we've got Team Alpecin-Deceuninck, and in some ways like the AG2R jersey, this jersey also uses a strong branding on the front of it. It's very clear, and again the use of a sans serif typeface makes it very legible and very easy to read the main sponsor. But what also works for this jersey is the contrast between the medium blue and the dark blue fade with the red of the Alpecin logo across the chest. This team has a number of minor sponsors which can easily overcrowd a jersey, but in this case simply reversing the minor sponsors out in white makes them easy to read and doesn't detract away from the main sponsor. I'd give this one an 8 out of 10. Moving on to Team Astana Kazakhstan. These guys really own this aqua blue colour. They've used similar colours in the past, and this year they've gone with a diamond hatching across the bottom of the jersey and across the sleeves. This dark blue diamond pattern really contrasts very well with the lighter shade of the aqua blue, and I think what also works for this jersey is having the main sponsor relatively high across the front of the chest, so when the team are taking their photographs and their hands are crossed, you can easily see the main title sponsor. So it could easily have been obscured, but having it so high up in the chest means you can see the sponsor very easily. In this case, the good consideration of the main title sponsor brand and the colours, I'd give this one an 8.5 out of 10. Bahrain Victorious have been very brave in their jersey designs in recent years, and this year is no different. A great use of red, orange and the black, and with the sponsor reverse out in white across the chest, it makes it very easy to identify the team on TV. I have to say, I really like this one, and I reckon this is a 9 out of 10. The Bora Hansgrohe team have a great use of colour on their kit. The aqua green coupled with the red and the black work really well together, and this jersey could have easily looked very blocky and very simple. It could have looked like a club kit, but the breaking of the horizontal stripes with these visual steps creates a nice contrast and visual interest. And having said that, these steps and notches have actually created a nice natural space on the front of the jersey to hold the main title sponsor. This jersey could have been much more complicated, but the positioning of the title sponsor means it's easy to see them on screen, and moving the minor sponsors to the shoulder area keeps a nice contrast between the main sponsor and the minor sponsors. I think this jersey is very clean and very legible. I'd give this a 9 out of 10. The French team Cofidis have always used red on their jerseys, and one of the key points on branding is creating visual familiarity. This creates brand recognition amongst your customers, and again this jersey is a prime example of another jersey that uses a good, strong, clean sans serif typeface. However, I am a little bit unconvinced about the vertical use of the logo type on the front of the jersey. This could be hard to read and it could be hard to identify the brand. And the white sleeves, I think, makes this jersey feel a little bit less than premium. Dye sublimation printing has allowed cycling jerseys in recent years to become more and more extravagant and more complex in their designs. And we've seen this with other teams in the past. And rather than using flat colour, Cofidis have introduced this kind of pattern into the background of the jersey, but I think they could have been a lot braver. I think they could have done a lot more with the use of pattern, and overall I think this jersey feels a little bit weak. 5 out of 10. Now, credit where credit is due. EF Education Easy Post are the guys who really have shaken the tree when it comes to jersey designs in the past few years. Their kits have been visually groundbreaking and their use of pink is incredibly strong. However, this year's jersey seems to be a bit of a retrograde step. Gone is the bold use of pattern and they've opted for a more simpler approach to their jersey. Granted, the EF Education logo is very strong and very clear on the front of the jersey, and the black and the pink do contrast very well. But I think if we refer to ourselves as cycling fans, we kind of expect this team to mix it up a bit and to break the norms, which they haven't done this year. Yes, it's a strong jersey, but it's not visually as strong as it's been in previous years. In fairness, these guys have really set the benchmark really high. Dare I say it, this one's a little bit of an anticlimax. I'd give this a 6 out of 10. Moving down under, Australia's Team Jayco, their jersey is clean and simple. They've clearly thought about the importance and impact of the main title sponsor and keeping it high on the front of the jersey. And yes, this does work well. However, coupled with the blue shorts, it seems a little bit too matchy-matchy for me. I'd like a little bit more of a contrast in there. Not to mention Rule 14. This jersey does look perfectly fine. It's grand. The wavy pattern on the lower half of the jersey kind of is visually interesting, but I kind of need a little bit more. 5 out of 10. Groupama FDJ over the past few years have moved their jersey design from what was primarily white to this navy blue design that we see here today. It kind of reminds me of the French national champion jersey, which is not a bad thing. I think it's got a nice use of colour and the two blues work well together and it creates a natural place for the main sponsor to go on the jersey. I like the contrast, I like the use of colour on the shoulder, and again I think this jersey could have been much more complicated than it needed to be, but I think the simplicity is what makes this work. It's quite strong. I think this is a 7 out of 10. Ineos, when they were Team Sky, had one of the most boring jerseys we have ever seen in the peloton. It was just all black and really simple and boring as hell. I'm looking at you, Team DSM. In recent years, Ineos have moved towards the use of a dark blue. And this year, the blue is contrasted with a use of a vivid orange. This contrast creates a very recognisable jersey. The main title sponsor is reversed out in white, as we've seen with other jerseys, and this creates good contrast and visibility for the brand. Again, we see the use of pattern on the sleeves, which I think works well. I really like this one. 9 out of 10. Intermarché Wanty. Lads, what has gone wrong? Okay, let me start off on a positive point. The fluoro yellow and the navy blue do work very well together. Nobody else in the peloton is using these colours, and that's what makes the jersey recognisable. But that's where it ends. On the front of the jersey, all I can describe is a vomit of logos. There's an ongoing joke in graphic design where the client says, "Make the logo bigger." I link to the Make the Logo Bigger song down below. And the problem with this is all of the clients seem to be shouting at the same volume. So all the logos are made the same size. And you cannot really see who is the key sponsor here. There's just too much going on. 3 out of 10. Okay, out of the frying pan, into the fire. Israel Premier Tech, where do I start with this one? It seems like they're trying to be EF Education first from a couple of years back. And I think that design may work well on the sketch pad, but once it's implemented onto a physical design, it's falling a bit short. It's incredibly busy because of all the colours, and it's very hard to see the star on the Israel logo, and you're wondering who is the key sponsor here because they're fighting for equal space. I have to say, the secondary sponsors are kind of lost as well. 5 out of 10 for effort. Jumbo-Visma really haven't changed the jersey much since last season. There's a good strong use of yellow as a colour there, and the black band across the centre of the chest makes a good space for the title sponsor. The yellow in the logo also matches nicely in with the yellow on the jersey, and there's lots of secondary sponsors on this jersey, and but the use of this band across the front makes a nice place to segment the primary from the secondary sponsors. 6.5 out of 10. I mentioned earlier that because of a sponsor change, a team has to change their jersey. Lotto is an example of this. We may have been familiar in the past with team Lotto Soudal, but this year they're Lotto Destiny. One of the issues I have with this jersey is because you've got two different sponsors, you've got two different sets of colours, and they don't really work well together. The red and the teal don't work well. However, what does work with this jersey is splitting the two main sponsors with a yellow band. But this kind of makes the jersey look like I've taken two cycling jerseys, cut them in half and sewn them together. Where's the iconic black and red? Overall, it's not a bad jersey. I'm just not crazy about the colours. 5.5 out of 10. Spanish team Movistar seem to alternate between light and dark blue on their kits over the past few years. This year they seem to combine both light and dark blue on the one jersey. They use this kind of a cloudy pattern which alternates between the colours, which I think works very well. I think it works because we're familiar with the colours of the team, and again I think the strong use of a reversed out logo on the front of the jersey with that iconic M from Movistar makes it easy to read on the screen. This I think 8.5 out of 10. Earlier I mentioned Team Lotto Soudal. This year, because of change in title sponsors, the team is now called Lotto Quickstep. It's kind of like Lotto Soudal and the Kernan Quickstep had a love child together. And I think the jersey reflects that because it says neither Lotto nor does it say Quickstep. It's a bit like a Frankenstein's monster. It's a bit of this and a bit of that all kind of bolt together. The blue says the Kernick, the red stripe says Lotto Soudal, and I really wonder how many sports commentators this year will make the mistake and call it the wrong team. Pay attention, Carlton Kirby. Okay, what works for this, I think, is the blue pattern. The layering of the blue works very well. It creates a nice visual movement in the jersey and it creates a bit of depth. But the red on the Soudal logo, I think, detracts from the blue. But I really wonder what this jersey would have looked like if they had to continue the blue across the front of the torso and made the Soudal logo reversed out in white. I think this is a tough one. There's something good about it and there's something bad about it. It's better than Jayco, but it's nowhere near Bora. I think I'm going to be generous and give this a 7 out of 10. Arkea Samsic have gone with what I would describe as an understated design. The red is really strong and simple and very recognisable, and the sponsor's brand is very clear on the front of the jersey. There are, however, some nice subtle details on the sleeves, which I think works really well. I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. It looks like Team DSM had forgotten to do their homework. I know earlier I criticised Sky for having a boring jersey. This isn't much better. There are many leftover visual items on this jersey from previous iterations of the team when they were Giant and then it became Sunweb and then it became DSM. I mean, look at the wonderful colours that's in the DSM logo. These could have been applied in a strong, bold visual design on the jersey rather than just plain, boring L black. I think this jersey could have had great potential. It could have been groundbreaking in its design and visually innovative. This jersey just went for the safe option. 2 out of 10. Trek, I think, is an example of where the ladies' team jersey is much nicer than the men's team jersey. In the past few years, Trek have experimented with the use of red and blue on their jerseys, and this one, I think, is not as strong as previous years. Granted, it's clean, it's very clear branding on it, but it falls a little bit short for me. 3 out of 10. Team UAE Emirates, never really known for the bold designs in the jerseys, and this year's no different. They've gone with their age-old formula of a white torso and black sleeves. Yes, clear branding. Yes, it's easy to see the sponsors, and it could have been a little bit more exciting. 3 out of 10. Team Uno X said this year they are not changing the design of the jerseys from the previous season for sustainability reasons, and I think that's a good idea, in that fans do not have to buy a new jersey every season. But the design of this jersey is actually quite simple. It's a little bit blocky, but the yellow and the red for me kind of reminds me of a Lego minifigure. I don't know why, it reminds me of a Lego minifigure. And I think it's those primary colours like, process yellow and 032 red. It's a good, strong, clear branding, but they're bog standard colours. 5 out of 10. Team Total Energies have a very strong and vibrant set of brand colours, but rather than using these colours in an overbearing manner, they've gone for quite an understated jersey, which makes the identity stand out really well off the white background. However, they have integrated in a very subtle manner this use of blended colour, where the colour is blended and gradiated up from the bottom of the jersey, creating a space at the top of the jersey to hold the main brand identity and the main sponsor. I think the positioning of the logo of the main sponsor works really well, and I think this works in a very strong way. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. I've saved the best until last. For me, there is one absolute standout design in a cycling jersey for the 2023 season, and that goes to Human Powered Health. This jersey encompasses all of the design trends that we've seen in the past few years: strong use of branding, strong use of colour. The colours in this particular jersey work incredibly well. The magenta, the purple, the orange, it's just sublime. And they continue the trend that we've seen over recent years in terms of blending colours together on a single jersey. Pay attention, EF. But at the same time, they've got a simplistic approach to the presentation of the main title sponsor. By simply reversing the logo out in white, makes it really strong, and coupled with strong use of colour, makes a very impactful jersey, and I think this team will be easy to spot on screen. For me, this is an 11 out of 10. So that's my review and critique of the cycling jerseys for the 2023 season. I'd love to know what your views are and your opinion are. Leave them in the comments below. And which one is your favourite? Which ones do you hate? See you soon.